Hello friends, welcome back to our channel Neet Biology Expert. I am Dr. Parveen. In this lecture series, we are studying Class 12 Biology, Chapter Human Reproduction. So as a continuation of that chapter topics, today we are going to study about structure of a spermatozoon. Okay, let's get started. Right, you might have come across certain words regarding sperm in your textbook. Okay, let us see. Sperm, sperms, spermatozoa and spermatozoon. So these are the words you might have come across. Are they same? We should know the meaning for everything, right? Yes. So if there is only one sperm, we call that as a sperm or spermatozoon. Z-O-O-N means single sperm. Okay. So in singular, both sperm and spermatozoon both are same. If there are more than two sperms, that means in plural, we call them as sperms or spermatozoa. So sperms and spermatozoa both are the plural version, right? Okay. So let us see structure of the sperm. Look at this video. Human sperm is microscopic, flagellated and motile gamete. What do you mean by microscopic? We could not able to see sperm under normal eyes. So we need a microscope because the size is very small. Okay. So they are microscopic, flagellated. They have flagella. So with the help of the flagella only, they could able to swim. So this movement is called motility. Okay. So sperm is a microscopic, flagellated, motile gamete. Let us see this video. This is the actual sperm under a microscope. This we could examine in the sperm examination, right? Okay. This is the live sperm under a microscope. So see how beautifully they are swimming. Okay. So let us study in detail about the structure and parts and functions of the spermatozoa. Right. So this is the basic structure of a sperm cell. So a sperm cell has four main parts. The first part is called head. Second one is the neck. Third one is the middle piece. And fourth one is the tail. Usually this word tail and flagellum both are interchangeable. See, bacteria. You know the structure of a bacteria? Bacteria also has flagella. Okay. They could able to move. This tail of the bacteria we call exactly as flagellum. But the tail of the sperm we mostly call as tail, very rarely as flagellum, right? So normally we used to call this tail, right? So a structure of sperm consists of four basic components: head, neck, middle piece and tail. Okay, so let's see the parts one by one. So let's see the first part, head. So what is present in the head of the sperm? Two major things are present. One is the acrosome and another one is nucleus. A sperm head consists of two major parts, acrosome and nucleus, right? What is acrosome? Acrosome is a cap-like structure. You could see here which I am drawing. This is a cap-like structure. Okay. So this is acrosome. This is a cap-like pointed structure. Pointed means it's very sharp. It's very sharp like this. It's pointed structure. Okay. This pointed structure which is present in the anterior portion of the head is called acrosome. What is present in the acrosome? They contain digestive enzymes, particularly proteolytic enzymes called hyaluronidase. Okay. Look here. Acrosome contain hyaluronidase enzyme. What is hyaluronidase? See, suppose if this is zona pellucida, that means the ovum. Ovum has three layers. Okay, so we will study all this in the structure of the ovum. So the outer layer is a thick shell. So the sperm has to penetrate. If this is the sperm, it has to penetrate the outer layer, zona pellucida of the egg. Then only it could able to go inside and carry out fertilization. So in order to penetrate the outer covering of the ovum, the sperm needs an enzyme. This outer covering is made up of protein. So they need a proteolytic enzyme naturally. So hyaluronidase. Hyaluronidase is the proteolytic enzyme which is present in this acrosome. Understand? So there are many other words for this hyaluronidase enzyme or this acrosome. They are called spermylysine, corona penetrating enzyme, zonalysine or zoniacin or aerosine. So these are the different names for the same region. Understand? Okay, clear? So what is the function of the acrosome? It helps in the fertilization, right? Fine. And another important thing is acrosome is formed from Golgi body of spermatid. We know during spermatogenesis we studied spermiogenesis. What is spermiogenesis? Spermatid forms from the spermatid, a mature sperm develops. So this step is called spermiogenesis. So in this process, if this is a spermatid having the nucleus, so they have a structure called Golgi body. This Golgi body becomes this acrosome. Understand? So this is very important, guys. Acrosome is formed from Golgi body of the spermatid. Okay. So these are the structures present in the anterior front part of the head of the sperm. Right. What is present in the posterior part, in the back side of the head? They present a nucleus. So what is present inside the nucleus? They contain the genetic material, that is the DNA or the chromosomes. Because this is a sperm which carries the DNA, half of the genetic material which is needed for the baby to develop, right? So this genetic material is haploid. That means 23 number of chromosomes. And where is the baki? Another 23 is present in the egg. So when they fuse together, the zygote will have 2n number of chromosomes. Right? 23 plus 23, 46. So this nucleus is haploid nucleus which is present in this sperm head. Okay, this purple color structure which we could see here is the nucleus. Okay, so how this nucleus is? This nucleus is flat, elongated, oval and spindle shape. Okay, so here it is tightly packed. The genetic material is tightly packed inside this nucleus. Clear? Fine. And there is another structure in the head of the sperm that is called perforatrium. What is perforatrium? The space between here. The space. Okay. The space between the acrosome and the nucleus is called perforatrium. Perforatrium. Clear, guys? The space between the acrosome and the nucleus is called perforatrium. So this is about the head part of the sperm. Fine? Right. So let's move on into the second part, that is the neck part. How the sperm neck part will be? It is a very short region. It is a very short region. We could not mostly differentiate the neck part because it is very short and it is the connecting part between the head and the middle piece. Okay. What is present in the neck region? They present two centrioles. Okay. So one is the proximal centriole and another is the distal centriole. They present two centriole in the neck region. So which is present in the front side? Proximal centriole. This is called proximal centriole. So proximal centriole is present towards the nucleus. Look here, this is nucleus, right? So it is present towards the nucleus. That is called proximal centriole. Okay. What is the function of proximal centriole? This is very important, guys. The proximal centriole enters the egg and plays a major role in the first division of the zygote. This is very, very important. Okay. See, when the sperm is doing fertilization, okay, when it enters inside the egg, okay, this is the egg, this is the sperm cell. When it enters the egg, only the head part enters inside and they fuses. These two nucleus fuses. Okay. So when this head part enters, this proximal nucleus which is present at the very tip, okay, it also enters towards the egg head, right? So what function it does? It plays a major role in the first division or first cleavage of the zygote. So you know what is a zygote. So look here. This is the fused cell. Okay. So after that, the fused cell has to undergo cleavage. So 1 become 2, 2 become 4, 4 become 8, like that. So for this cleavage, it needs, for this mitotic division, a centriole is needed. The egg cell does not have its own centriole. So this centriole, this proximal centriole from the sperm plays a major role in the first cleavage. Okay. So this is very important, right? There is another centriole which is present at the distal end of the neck. So this centriole is called distal centriole. Distal centriole. Distal means far. Okay. Which is on the back side. So this is called distal centriole. So what is the function of this distal centriole? They form a structure like this in the middle piece. So this is called axial filament. Axial filament. Okay. So the distal centriole give rise to axial filament of the sperm. Clear? The neck region is the shortest region in the sperm cell. It has two centriole, proximal and distal. Proximal centriole helps in the first cleavage of the zygote. Distal centriole forms the axial filament of the middle piece. Right? Fine. Let's move on into the third region, that is the middle piece. Okay, what middle piece contain? We have seen just now there is a distal centriole which give rise to a straight structure like this. This is called axial filament, right? In this axial filament, surrounding the axial filament, there are spiral shaped mitochondria present. So what is this? This is called mitochondria. So what is mitochondria? Mitochondria gives energy for the cell. This is called the powerhouse of the cell. We know that, right? So for every cell, the powerhouse, the ATP generating unit is the mitochondria. So why sperm cell needs mitochondria? Why it need energy? Because when after insemination, after the sperm has been released in the vagina of the female genital tract, it has to reach or it has to move till the fallopian tube in order to execute fertilization. So for that movement, it needs energy. And also for the fertilization, in order to penetrate inside the ovum, it needs energy. Right? So all this energy is generated by mitochondria, which is present in the middle piece region of the sperm. Clear? Right. So how this mitochondria is present? I draw here. See, this is the central axial filament. Surrounding the axial filament, the mitochondria is spirally structured like this. Okay. So this structure of this mitochondria is called Nebenkern. Very important, guys. This is called Nebenkern. What is Nebenkern? The mitochondria which is spirally arranged in the sperm is called Nebenkern. Clear? Fine. So what is the use of the mitochondria? It is for the energy production which is needed for the movement of the sperm. Clear? Okay. Fine. At the end of the middle piece, accurately here, there are another centriole present, that is called ring centriole. This is called ring centriole. Okay. So at the end of the middle piece, there is another centriole present which is called middle centriole, and surrounding this has a ring-like structure. So this region is called annulus ring. Annulus ring or Jensen's ring. Jensen's ring. Clear? So these are the structures present in the middle piece. Middle piece contain axial filament surrounded by a spiral mitochondria. At the end, another centriole is present. That centriole is called ring centriole. It has a ring-like structure. So we call this as an annulus ring or Jensen's ring. Clear? Fine. The next part of the sperm is the tail. So we call this as the tail, rather flagella. This tail is very long region. Tail is the longest part of the sperm cell and it is very slender and tapering. Slender. Okay. What is the use of the tail? They help in the movement of the sperm. So for the sperm to swim actively, tail is very important, right? This tail has two parts. One is called the main part or the main piece, and another is called end piece. Okay, end piece. Fine. So tail has two regions, main piece and end piece. So what is the difference between these two regions? See, here we know that from the neck here, okay, the distal centriole is there, which is coming like this as axial filament in the middle piece. This axial filament continues till this region. See, this purple color region. This is called axial filament. So if the tail has axial filament in the center part, this region is called main piece. If the tail does not have this axial filament at the end part, this is called end piece. Clear? See here in this picture, in this blue color, there is no purple color inside. The purple color is the axial filament in this picture. Okay, so till the axial filament is present, that part is the main part of the tail. Where the axial filament is not present, that is the end part of the tail. Where axial filament is coming, it is a continuation from the middle part. Clear? Fine. Then this tail is having an outer covering. Outside the axial filament, there is an outer covering. That covering is called protoplasmic sheath. Protoplasmic sheath. Okay, fine. So there is an outer sheath. Sheath means covering. So that covering is called protoplasmic sheath. So these are the structures present in the tail part of the sperm. Fine. So let us see the coverings of the sperm. So the sperm, whole body of the sperm is covered or enveloped by plasma membrane. This is very important. See here, what is plasma membrane? It starts from the head. Like this, from the head, it continues to the neck and middle piece, and it's coming out. You could see here the blue color, right? So all this covering starts from the head till the end part of the tail, this blue color. This is called plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is the whole outer covering of a sperm cell. Okay? And this sperm cell is also having few sheath. Sheath means covering, extra covering in certain places. So those covering we call as sheath. Okay? Previously we saw here protoplasmic sheath. What is protoplasmic sheath? Now from the tail part, just below the plasma membrane, there is another covering that is called protoplasmic sheath. Protoplasmic sheath. Protoplasmic sheath is a second extra double covering present only in the tail part. Okay, right. There are another two more sheath in the sperm cell. In the front part, there is another covering like this. There is a sheath. There is a thin sheath like this. Okay. So, this sheath is called Gallia capitis. This sheath is called Gallia capitis. What is Gallia capitis? Very simple, guys. See, here you know this red color. This red color is called plasma membrane covering. Okay, so below that there is another covering which covers just the front portion or completely the acrosome and also the anterior part of the nucleus. See, this blue color, whatever I have drawn, This covers completely the acrosome and the anterior part of the nucleus. Anterior part of the nucleus, there is a covering. This covering is called Gallia capitis. Clear? Fine. There is a third covering which is present in the sperm cell. Where it starts from? It starts from the middle of the nucleus and till this region, till the middle piece, like this. Okay. So this covering is called manchete. This covering is called, this is the sheath. This sheath is called manchete. We also call this as a skirt. The structure is like a skirt, like this. Okay. So what is manchete? Manchete is another sheath which is present from the middle of the nucleus. From here, it starts from here and it ends in the till the end of the middle piece. Clear? So these are the three sheaths present in the sperm cell. Okay, let's revise whatever we have seen so far quickly. This is a structure of a sperm cell. The sperm cell has four important parts: head, neck, middle piece and tail. What is present in the head? Two major regions is present: acrosome and nucleus. What is acrosome? This cap-like structure which is present in the front part is called acrosome. It contains proteolytic enzyme hyaluronidase. What is the use of this enzyme? It helps for the penetration during the fertilization. And what about the nucleus? This nucleus is a haploid nucleus. Okay, it contains the genetic material DNA. Fine. What is present in the neck part? The neck region is very short, having two centriole: proximal centriole and distal centriole. What is the function of the proximal centriole? It helps in the first cleavage of the zygote. And what is the function of the distal centriole? It gets elongated and it continues as the axial filament. Right. And third one is the middle piece. Middle piece contains mitochondria. What is the function of the mitochondria? It generates ATP, which is needed for the swimming of the sperm. Okay. And how the mitochondria is present? It is present structurally, spirally arranged here, like this. Okay. And the fourth part is the tail. The tail has two regions, that is the main piece and the end piece. So wherever the axial filament is present, that is called main piece. When in the end there is no axial filament, that is called end piece. Fine. Okay. And what is plasma membrane? The whole sperm is covered by an outer layer called plasma membrane. Right. And how many sheaths are present in the sperm? 3 sheaths are present. So in the tail part, there is a sheath called protoplasmic sheath, and in the front part where the acrosome and the anterior part of the nucleus is present, there is a sheath called Gallia capitis. And here manchete is another sheath which is present in the middle part of the nucleus till the middle piece. Clear? So this is the structure and function of a sperm cell. So far we have seen a normal sperm which appears like this with a good shape and structure, and these are some abnormal sperms. Abnormal sperms may be, means there may be a defect in the head. The head may be short, long, double, elongated, spiral, any shape, disc shaped, okay, disfigured head. And acrosome less. So in some sperms the front part acrosome may not be present, and in some defective sperms the middle part may not be present or irregularly present. Some sperms may have a double tail or defective tail like this. So all these sperms are defective sperms which could not able to do fertilization well. Okay, so this you must know in basically, right? So let's know about some basic point into sperm structure. Okay, a human male ejaculates about 200 to 300 million sperms during a normal sexual intercourse. Okay, he releases about 200 to 300 million, that much amount of sperm in one ejaculation. And out of this, 60% of the sperm have normal shape and size, and 40% of the sperms show vigorous motility. That means 60% of the sperm moves normally. So what is the normal speed of the sperm? 1.5 millimeter per minute is the normal speed of a healthy sperm. But in one single ejaculation, almost 40% of the sperm, they move vigorously. That means they move maximum at a speed of 4 millimeter per minute. Very fast movement. Okay. And it takes about 30 minutes for a healthy sperm to reach from the vagina till the fallopian tube. So where fertilization takes place, you know, it is in the fallopian tube region. Okay. So when the sperm is released during sexual intercourse in the vaginal part of a female, so from the vagina it has to reach the fallopian tube. So a normal sperm takes about 30 minutes to reach the fallopian tube region. Okay. Also, a male could produce 500 billion sperms in his lifetime. Understand? What is the size of a sperm? The size of sperm is 50 micrometer. You know, the sperm is the smallest size cell of a human being. And you could not see a sperm without a microscope because the size is very small. You need a microscope to see a sperm. Okay. This is the smallest sized cell in a human being. And the largest sized cell is the ovum, egg cell. So just opposite. Smallest is the sperm and largest is the ovum. Okay. And who discovered sperm? Sperm was discovered by Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Who is Anton van Leeuwenhoek? He was the first person who observed sperm under microscope because he only discovered microscope. He is called father of microscopy or father of microbiology. So he only took his own sperm and saw it under the microscope. Okay. So he is called father of microscopy. And what is the meaning for the word sperm? In Greek language, sperm means seed. Seed. Okay. So sperms mean seed in Greek language. And once the sperm has been released out in the female genital tract, it remains alive for 24 to 48 hours. That means around 2 days it will be alive in the female genital tract because it has to move from the vagina till the fallopian tube, and in the fallopian tube also it waits for the egg to fertilize. If there is no egg, it gets distracted. If there is egg, it gets fertilization. Okay. So the lifespan of the sperm inside the female genital tract is maximum 2 days. Fine. Let's know some basic words. Okay. What is aspermia? Aspermia means failure to produce semen. In some male, there will be some blockage or obstacles in the ejaculatory duct or in some any other duct inside the male genital organ. So semen will be produced but they could not able to release out. Okay. So that condition is called aspermia. And another word called azoospermia. Azoospermia means semen contains no sperm. Semen is there but there is no sperm because of problem in the sperm production. Okay. No sperm in the semen. That is called azoospermia. And another terminology called necrospermia. Necrosis means cell death. Okay. So here more dead sperm are present in the semen. Semen is there, sperm is there, but they are all not live sperm. They are dead sperm. Okay. So that condition is called necrospermia. And another terminology called asthenospermia. Asthenospermia means reduced sperm motility. A sperm should have a normal motility, then only could able to do fertilization very well. So if the motility is less, that condition is called asthenospermia. Okay. So some people may not have sperm, some people may have sperm but there is no active sperm. Some people may have a sperm but there won't be a motile sperm. So like this condition, these are all medical conditions in which the male will be sterile or he could not able to give birth to offsprings. Okay. So these conditions are, you must be knowing some important terminology. Understand? Okay. So I hope you understand this lecture. Our next lecture will be on oogenesis. So if you like this lecture, please like, share and subscribe to our channel Neet Biology Expert. Meet you in another lecture. Till then, thank you. Take care.